If you're over 60, raw sprouts simply aren't worth the risk. Whether it's on a deli sandwich or tossed into a salad, those fresh-looking greens could be carrying invisible pathogens that your body may no longer be equipped to fight off. Instead, opt for cooked sprouts. Lightly steaming or sautéing them not only neutralizes harmful bacteria, but also preserves much of their nutritional value. You still get the benefit without the bacteria. And remember, food safety becomes heart safety as we age. What was harmless in your 40s might now trigger a cascade of issues in your 60s or 70s. Every bite matters. 1. Pickled or canned beets, a hidden heart hazard for seniors. You've probably heard that beets are a superfood for heart health. And yes, fresh roasted or steamed beets can support your cardiovascular system. But here's where many seniors go wrong. They're eating pickled or canned beets thinking they're getting the same benefit. In reality, these versions can quietly damage your heart, especially if you're over 60. Let me explain. Pickled and canned beets are often loaded with sodium and sugar. Why? Because the preservation process requires salt, and manufacturers often add sugar or high fructose corn syrup to balance the tangy taste. A single half cup of canned beets can contain up to 300 to 400 milligrams of sodium. And some brands go even higher. Now, if you're a senior managing high blood pressure, even small doses of excess sodium can be harmful. It causes your body to retain water, increases blood volume, and forces your heart to pump harder, raising your blood pressure even more. Over time, this can lead to heart failure, stroke, or damage to the arteries. And that's not all. Some pickled beets are preserved with vinegar and sulfites. While vinegar might sound harmless for those with sensitive stomachs or acid reflux, it can trigger uncomfortable symptoms. Sulfites, on the other hand, are chemical preservatives that can cause headaches, raise inflammation, or worsen breathing in people with asthma. Another red flag? Bisphenol A, or BPA. Many canned foods, unless labeled BPA-free, are lined with this chemical, which has been linked to high blood pressure, heart disease, and hormone disruption. Seniors are particularly vulnerable because the body's ability to detoxify harmful compounds slows with age. So what's the bottom line? If you love beets, and I actually want you to eat them, go fresh. You can boil, roast, or steam them at home. Even vacuum-sealed cooked beets from the produce section are far better than the heavily processed, shelf-stable kind. You'll still get the nitrate-rich benefits that help lower blood pressure, but without all the hidden heart risks. 2. Nightshades. Are these colorful veggies secretly stressing your heart? Most people think that vegetables like eggplants, tomatoes, and peppers are always heart healthy. After all, they're colorful, full of antioxidants, and part of the famous Mediterranean diet, right? Well, not so fast. If you're over 60 and struggling with joint pain, inflammation, or certain heart conditions, these veggies, part of the nightshade family, could be doing more harm than good. Nightshades contain a natural chemical called solanine, a compound that helps the plant defend itself from pests. But when humans consume it, especially in excess or with underlying sensitivities, it can trigger inflammation, disrupt nerve function, and even interfere with how muscles contract and relax. Why does this matter for your heart? Because your heart is a muscle, and if solanine affects muscle contraction, it could contribute to irregular heart rhythms, arrhythmias, in sensitive individuals. While this doesn't affect everyone, older adults with a sluggish metabolism, slow digestion, or autoimmune issues may be more vulnerable. Let's talk inflammation for a moment. Chronic inflammation is like a slow-burning fire inside the body, and it's one of the root causes of heart disease. Some seniors notice that after eating a tomato-rich pasta or stuffed peppers, they feel stiff joints, swollen hands, or more fatigue. That's not just aging. That could be an inflammatory response. Another red flag: nightshades are acidic. Tomatoes and peppers in particular can trigger acid reflux, which not only causes discomfort, but can also mimic or mask early signs of heart problems, such as chest tightness or indigestion. And here's something many seniors don't know. Nightshades are often sprayed heavily with pesticides, especially in non-organic farming. These chemicals can linger in the skin of the vegetables and have been linked to oxidative stress and cellular damage, both of which are hard on your heart over time. Now, I'm not saying every senior needs to avoid nightshades completely, but if you have arthritis, autoimmune disorders, heart palpitations or arrhythmias, chronic acid reflux, then cutting back on eggplants, tomatoes, and peppers, even just for a few weeks, might lead to surprising improvements in how your body and heart feel. Instead, try replacing them with heart-friendly alternatives like zucchini, carrots, or sweet potatoes. They're just as colorful, easier on digestion, and don't carry the same inflammatory load. 3. Spinach, a superfood. That's not so super if you're on blood thinners. Now here's a shocker for many older adults. Spinach, the leafy green that's always praised for its heart and bone benefits, could actually work against you, but only under certain conditions. If you're taking blood thinners like warfarin, Coumadin, you need to listen carefully, because eating too much spinach could interfere with your medication and increase your risk of blood clots or even a stroke. Why? Spinach is extremely high in vitamin K, especially the subtype K1. And while vitamin K is essential for bone health and proper blood clotting, it can directly counteract the effect of anticoagulants. These blood thinners are prescribed to prevent dangerous clots that could block an artery in your heart, brain, or lungs. But if you suddenly eat a spinach-heavy meal, your vitamin K levels spike and your medication may not work as intended. That's where the real danger lies. Let's say your doctor has carefully adjusted your warfarin dosage to keep your INR, a measure of blood clotting, in the safe zone. Then you start juicing spinach every morning or eating a big spinach salad every night. The sudden change can throw your INR off, making your blood too thick. The result? You might be more likely to form a clot, which could lead to a heart attack, stroke, or even pulmonary embolism. Now, should you cut spinach out completely? Not necessarily. The real key is consistency. If you're on blood thinners, your doctor wants to see your vitamin K intake stay steady, not spike up and down. You can eat spinach, but do it in moderate amounts and don't drastically change your routine without letting your healthcare provider know. Also, be aware that spinach isn't the only high vitamin K food. Kale, collard greens, Brussels sprouts, and even green tea can also impact your medication. Here's a smart tip. Instead of avoiding greens altogether, track your weekly intake and aim for balance. And if you want heart-healthy vegetables that are low in vitamin K, go for options like cauliflower, bell peppers, or squash. Remember, what's healthy isn't always healthy for everyone, especially after 60, when medications and food can interact in powerful and sometimes dangerous ways. 4. Potatoes, especially fried or mashed with butter. Now let's talk about one of the most comforting and common foods on American dinner plates: potatoes. Baked, mashed, scalloped, or fried, potatoes are a staple in many seniors' diets. But here's the catch. They're not as heart-friendly as you might think. First, let's look at the glycemic load. Potatoes, especially white potatoes, are packed with starch. When you eat them, your body breaks down that starch into sugar very quickly, causing your blood sugar to spike. This triggers a chain reaction that affects your insulin levels, weight, and eventually your cardiovascular health. Over time, frequent blood sugar spikes contribute to insulin resistance, which is a major risk factor for type 2 diabetes, and diabetes, in turn, doubles your risk of heart disease. That's a slippery slope, especially after 60, when your metabolism naturally slows down and your arteries may already be more vulnerable. But it gets worse when we look at how potatoes are prepared. If you're eating them fried, like French fries or hash browns, you're not just dealing with starch, you're also consuming trans fats, oxidized oils, and extra sodium. These are the 3 horsemen of heart damage. They increase LDL cholesterol, promote inflammation, and harden your arteries over time. Even mashed potatoes, which sound innocent, often come loaded with butter, cream, and salt. That turns this simple vegetable into a calorie bomb with artery-clogging saturated fats. Over time, this can contribute to high blood pressure, weight gain, and poor circulation, all major threats to heart health. So should you give up potatoes completely? Not necessarily, but you need to be very mindful of the type, portion, and preparation. Here's what heart doctors often recommend. Switch to sweet potatoes. They have a lower glycemic index, more fiber, and are rich in beta-carotene, a powerful antioxidant. Avoid frying. Opt for roasting with olive oil and herbs instead of deep frying. Ditch the butter and cream. Try mashed potatoes with a splash of low-sodium broth, garlic, or even a bit of plain Greek yogurt. The takeaway here is simple. Potatoes aren't evil, but the way we prepare and eat them makes all the difference. And after 60, your heart can't afford the daily burden of fried, buttery starch. 5. Celery. When overconsumed for detox. Celery? Yes, even celery can become a heart hazard if used the wrong way. Surprised? You're not alone. Many seniors have embraced celery juice cleanses and detox trends, believing this crunchy green stalk is the ultimate health food. And to be fair, celery does have benefits. It's low in calories, high in water, and contains potassium and antioxidants. But here's the hidden truth your heart doctor wishes you knew. Too much celery, especially when juiced excessively for detox purposes, can backfire on your heart. Let's break it down. First, celery is naturally high in sodium. In fact, just 1 cup of chopped celery contains about 88 milligrams of sodium, and that adds up fast when you're drinking multiple stalks juiced daily. If you're already dealing with high blood pressure, or if you're on a sodium-restricted diet, those extra milligrams can quietly push your numbers higher without you realizing it. High sodium intake leads to water retention, increased blood volume, and ultimately more pressure on your arteries and heart. It's one of the leading contributors to hypertension, especially in older adults. But that's not all. Many seniors use celery juice as a meal replacement, skipping balanced meals in favor of this so-called miracle drink. When that happens, you're missing out on fiber, healthy fats, and critical nutrients like protein and B vitamins. This can throw off your body's balance and even cause dangerous drops in blood sugar, especially if you're diabetic or on glucose-lowering medications. And here's another kicker. Celery is a natural diuretic. While that might sound like a good thing, excessive urination caused by celery overconsumption can lead to electrolyte imbalances, especially low potassium. That's a real danger for your heart because potassium is essential for keeping your heartbeat regular and strong. Too little potassium? You could experience palpitations, muscle cramps, or even arrhythmias. So what's the solution? Enjoy celery in moderation. Stick to whole celery, not large quantities of juice. Combine it with other heart-healthy vegetables like carrots, cucumbers, and leafy greens. Don't fall for the detox hype. Your liver and kidneys already detox your body naturally. What your heart really needs is balance, not extreme diets. In short, celery isn't dangerous on its own, but when it's overconsumed in pursuit of detox trends, it can quietly work against your heart health. After 60, it's better to eat smart and steady, not extreme. Let me be clear, I'm not saying vegetables are bad, but as we age, how we eat them and which ones we choose matters more than ever. The senior heart is sensitive. It's wiser but also more vulnerable. Avoiding these 5 vegetables doesn't mean giving up on health. It means getting smarter about it. Want my free heart-healthy vegetable guide? Download it in the link below and start building a plate that works with your heart, not against it. And remember, eat smart, age strong. Like this video if you learned something new. Subscribe for more real talk from a real heart doctor. Hit the bell so you never miss another health truth. Your heart deserves better. Let's take care of it, one bite at a time.